One of the most predominant questions you hear from people, you hear it over and over again, particularly people who are trying to find their footing in the professional world, is um, where do I channel my energy to? What skills do I need to thrive in the current world, particularly with the scare of AI now? Everyone's scared of AI. Well, so there are two categories of people who, when they see AI. There's a category of people that love AI and how much more productive they are because of AI, and there are those who quite simply are scared of it. They don't go close to it. They don't embrace it. Whichever category you are, my usual response when I have these conversations, particularly with people who are starting up in their careers, students, one of the things I like to tell them is that beyond any technical skill, there are what I like to call seven skills. There are seven skills that everyone needs to have, and with these skills, you can navigate in and out of any field, any domain, any setting, and its value or their values are beyond professional settings. By that I mean you can transfer them into your social life, you can transfer them into your personal life. Number one would be comprehension. Do you understand what it is you've heard? Do you have the capacity to understand what you've heard, what you've read? Because without comprehension skills, wow, you're 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 going to be worlds apart from everyone. Now, when I mean comprehension, it doesn't matter what language you speak or what dialect you use. Because I'm not even talking about articulation here. I'm just talking about comprehension, the ability to understand, make sense of what it is that you are, make sense accurately of what it is that you've heard or what you've read. The second skill, which I think is most valuable, is critical thinking capabilities. And critical thinking capability fits into problem solving capabilities. Now, critical thinking is what gives you the ability to come across a text or listen to someone, make sense of what they've said, look at it objectively, examine it objectively, analyze what they've said, weigh the pros and cons without being biased. And even when you're biased, recognizing that you're biased. It allows you to be open minded, it gives you an ability to explore things from multiple dimensions. And it's one of the, I would say, it's the second most valuable skill that anyone can have professionally. The third one is research capabilities, the capacity to go out there and research for yourself, like whereby you don't need an interpreter because you already comprehend and because you can think critically. It means you can research. In fact, comprehension and critical thinking abilities give you research confidence, because while some people can scour the internet, they do not trust what they interpret out of whatever it is that they read from any journal, textbook, news, whatever. At the same time, too, they may find it difficult. For those who lack critical thinking, they may find it difficult when someone is trying to bamboozle them or hoodwink them in a text, in adverts. So I would say these are the top three. The next one to me would be financial literacy, which is not really taught in schools, but basically and then in some cases that comes with some mathematics, but this is not about mathematics. It's basically to understand how money moves, how to multiply money, how to make sense of financial resources. But I digress. But that is also very critical. Um, that is the fourth one. Yeah, the fifth one, I would say curiosity. The ability to maintain curiosity. What it does for you is that it always puts you ahead of the curve. It means if you're curious, if you maintain curiosity, you want to understand. You are hungry for knowledge. You're hungry to understand what you're seeing, what you're hearing. Why has this person spoken that way? What is the meaning of this phrase? Like, it is a brilliant skill to have. Curiosity is something that you should never allow to die. Because if you're curious, it means you're always close to the next big opportunity. You're always close to the next big idea, because you're always open to see what people have to say. And then because you maintain critical thinking, and if you maintain curiosity as well, what it means is that your critical thinking allows you to analyze every new information or new thing that you come across or that you sort out. The next one I would say is the capacity to ask questions. I've for whatever reason, I find that people struggle with asking other people questions. I do not know if it is a confidence. Do people find it difficult to speak? I don't know whatever it is, but well, I think for many different reasons, some people are not confident in themselves. Some people simply are shy. I won't even call it confidence, lack of confidence in their part. I'll call it maybe they are introverted and they're not very, they're not people persons. But if you know how to ask questions, it implies that you can walk into any room completely naive and walk out of that place well informed. And because you maintain critical thinking abilities, it allows you to decipher whether someone who you're speaking to is being authentic, or whether they are knowledgeable, or whether they are speaking facts, or they are simply just responding to your question. But the fact is, if you ask questions, you ultimately find the right direction. You ultimately know who to speak to and who not to speak to. It goes hand in hand with curiosity. So I think I believe I've mentioned six now. So comprehension, critical thinking, research capabilities, digital literacy. Okay, no, financial literacy, and so the last one is digital literacy. Now, digital literacy is very important in today's world. Um, Particularly because there's so much information out there that you need to be able to decipher what is real and what is fake. Where is the source of this information? Like, what should I put out there? What shouldn't I put out there? How do I create my digital space? How do I detox? Like, these are fundamentals. This, like, in today's world, digital literacy is the newest one. The rest have been in. It's not new, but it is new in comparison to the rest. The rest have been used by different people all over the world for, I think, for as long as time has existed. Because without these things, well, no, financial literacy, because when financial literacy, now we're talking about money, but in the same way, it's economics has always existed. There's always been commerce. So financial literacy is almost as old as the rest, but digital literacy is the newest one. You need to know how to, especially because we now have things like AI, tech. You need to know how to navigate digital systems. You need to know how to prompt things like AI. You need to know how to create social media space. You need to know how to discern what is real, what is not real. And then if you combine this with research capabilities, it also means you know which information is credible, which one is not credible, um, and you know where to channel your energy in when you're sourcing for information. So these, I would say, are the most important skills anyone can have. And I dare say that it doesn't matter whether you're in the humanities or whether you're in the STEM fields. It doesn't matter whether you are an archaeologist. If you have these skills, you can move from field to field. Um, it also means that you are almost always ahead of the curve. You are confident wherever you sit. Um, you would. There are people who I like to describe as exploiters. They won't feel very comfortable around you because you will almost always ask the right questions. Um, you would be considered as, in some cases, rigid because you would want people to convince you with facts rather than emotions whenever you're having a discourse. So these are skills that I think anyone who is building a career or who is just starting out their life, or anyone, should have in today's world. Without them, I don't think you will survive in the professional world, which is very cannibalistic in its nature. But these, to me, are the most important skills that anyone should have beyond technical skills, because technical skills come and go. Coding is fantastic today. Who knows in 10 years? Um, yeah, I'm sure that there are spheres of medicine that would be would no longer be valuable when maybe some illnesses have been cured, or as the case. I'm just saying, but it doesn't. For instance, the way we used to build houses has changed. The way we farm has changed. Like, so, there are some things have now been mechanized, so old skills are no longer valuable. So ultimately, technical skills come and go, but these skills, which are soft skills and transferable skills, which I've mentioned, are skills that will almost never go extinct. I say almost because, well, you can never really know. But if I were being bold, I would make a claim and say they would never go away. So that's what I think.